It's DUG24. 24 hours, 24 sessions, 24 speakers, 100% Microsoft Dynamics. It's unparalleled, unprecedented, and undeniable fun with your hosts Beau Schwieso and Bobby Small. Let's get into it with another episode of DUG24. Morning, everybody, or evening, afternoon, wherever you are in the world, the globe. We are so excited to be coming to you with DUG24. It is a 24-hour, 24-session, 24 amazing speaker global event conference happening over the next day. 24 hours, and I'm going to be here for 24 hours with this guy, Beau Schwieso. My name is Bobby Small, and we're excited to be here with you and excited to provide a lot of great content. But why are we doing this? 24
Why
hours.
are we doing this, Bobby?
I don't know. Well, I do know, but I just wanted to ask you, because this was you germed this idea. So how did we get here from, 6 months ago to now?
Yeah, great question. I was kind of thinking about this. Obviously we had the idea 6 months ago, and now we're here today. But let's really talk about the why of all this. So for me, I think as I'm kind of doing a retrospective on existing conferences, the in-person conferences, there's kind of like a half and half, right? You've got half of the conference is learning and building community and the sessions, and then the other half is going through the expo hall and kind of, if you're a vendor or an end user or an ISV or what have you, or if you're looking for a new job, that expo hall is for you. That's great. That's got its place in the world for conferences. What I wanted this conference to be is all about community. And that's the number one thing today. The other thing that kind of resonated with me back in February during the DUG leadership retreat is Jake had mentioned, he said, we were talking about DUG local meetups. And he really talked about, hey, if the people that attend those meetings and attend the meetups get one thing out of it, he's really invested in people building their network and building their community. So if they get nothing else out of it, he considers that a win. So for those who don't know, DUG is Dynamics User Group, and that's who's helping host this event. And Jake is one of the main El Presidentes for that. We've got so that's the why, Bobby. We're realistically trying to talk about building a community and building that kind of, virtual global kind of reach and understanding how we can learn today.
Yeah. And the other thing for me, we just got through DynamicsCon, working through convergence. A lot of these big conferences are still located over here on the Americas side of the globe. And one thing that I noticed in all of this leading up, which is the session submissions and folks trying to get over here, is it's tough for folks from around the globe to get access to this great content. And so this is just another opportunity to provide that, which is why it resonated when you're like, hey, what would you feel about this 24-hour thing? It got me thinking, like, yeah, that'd be great. We can literally sunset it around the globe and have speakers. So as we move through each hour, we'll be moving speakers as well. So some speakers are going to be coming to us from this, general time zone here in the Americas. Then we're moving slowly across through Europe and on across as well. And so we've got people that are joining us throughout this 24-hour event. By the way, we're over 1,000 at this point, 1,000 attendees. So that's just an awesome thing to think about. 1,000 people across the globe today, dialing in and listening to all this great content. So that was another reason why this just seemed like a kind of the right thing to do, to provide some great content, like you said. People that are out there putting themselves into this work, giving them the opportunity to give back and do that across the globe is just it's a nice feeling, and it's kind of the reason it resonated with me as a great opportunity.
Now, Bobby, I've got a quick question for you. As you've kind of already mentioned, you and I will be for sure the people staying up 24 hours. I've got to understand, like, what's your pre-strategy for staying awake and staying on top of things?
That's a good question. Yeah, certainly I've started, strong with the, a double dose of coffee to get that caffeine in the system. You got to build up the resilience to the caffeine throughout the day. You can't over caffeinate. Got to stay really focused on that caffeine intake. I've got an IV I'll be hooking up later, which will just keep it dripping slowly. I've got a perfect drip on it. So that's one thing. To be honest, Beau, it's one of these things for me that just rises to the occasion of the event. I think it's an adrenaline thing. So I mean, honestly, I'm in bed by 8:30 my time, which is mountain daylight right time. That's when I'm starting to really wind down. So when we are in event mode though, or if I'm out at a place doing something, I can roll. We did a hackathon at DynamicsCon, and I was up until 2:33 in the morning, and took a couple hours, and then was back at the event again the next day. So the real question is, what's the strategy for when you crash after you've been up for 36 hours? And that's making sure I'll get to bed early tonight, and recover and get that recover in. How about you?
I'm actually trying the whole microdosing approach. So I haven't started my coffee yet. I took a quick 5K run this morning. Hey, Donna. And yeah, I've got the adrenaline pumping, of course, for the event, but it's also like I kind of want to see how long I can get without my first dose of caffeine to try
Okay,
to
so you
make
haven't
it.
even started with
Yeah,
caffeine at this point. You're just you're letting yourself get to a point before you're like, yep, it's time. I can feel it.
yeah, yeah. It'll
I'll know too.
probably.
I've got your
It'll,
your wife's cell phone number. If you start falling asleep, I'm going to call her, and she'll come in and
please.
give you a dope slap.
She'll just come into the office and just like virtually slap me, maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a virtual slap. I love it. Just since we've got some time before we get into our first keynote, how it's going to work today. It's going to be rapid fire. Doug, in the past we did a virtual event, which is again another reason why I was really excited to take this project on. We didn't do 24 hours, but it was a virtual event, and it was quite popular again beyond the walls of the states, and what we're our kind of typical event area over here for these larger community events. And so we knew we had this global audience, and so this virtual was really resonating for me for that reason. And so yeah, I'm excited to get going. So what's going to happen is, starting now, we'll kick off here in just a few minutes with our first keynote, and then as soon as that's over, we'll be rolling right into our next session. So it's just kind of be one after the other of great sessions, and basically 3 time blocks. So we got our first time block, and then we'll kind of move over across, and all the way back through to right where we are now, but tomorrow. So that's kind of what we're expecting, and this is an open, it's an open session, so you can float in and out as you wish. So we're excited to have everybody with us here, but we'll be seeing all kinds of different folks throughout the day and throughout the 24 hours.
Very cool. I love this. So it's follow the sun, basically.
And to follow the sun.
Exactly.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah, welcome,
I love
Donna.
it. Hi.
Yeah, we're
Hello.
excited to again kind of reach
Yeah.
a broad audience and provide such great content. I mean, we're so excited by what we have lined up for the rest of the 24 hours.
I'm excited for this. This is actually, I'm taking the summer off from speaking, just doing my normal work. And this is one of 2 events I'm doing because I'm intrigued by this follow the sun 24-hour thing.
Awesome.
But also I love your community. You all are the right balance of excited about the future, but also balanced in the present, right? You're saying, yeah, there's all this new stuff constantly. It's very cool. But we have to remember most companies are not ready for the newest thing today.
Right.
They will be, but we need to get them there. And we can't just say, how come you're not ready? That's not actually an answer.
Right. Yeah, just looking back as you're running away from them is not a great philosophy.
That is not a thing. Yeah, that's not a thing. Can you hear me okay? Because I'm in Rome. It's hollering. Okay, everyone is very loud.
I think we've got somebody unmuted though. I'm gonna see if I can just get a mute here. I think we're good now.
Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah, we can hear you.
you can hear me fine.
You said you're in Rome?
Yeah, I'm in Rome for the summer.
Nice.
Okay, jealous.
Yeah.
I was glad. I was
Yeah.
wondering if you'd be like home base, and Seattle would be a little early for you. Although I'm an early
Fine.
riser, so not so early for me.
No, I'm not. I'm not much of a riser. I'm just a stay up all the time sort. So
Nice.
it's yeah. Um, yeah, so it's fine. But I like you're doing this. I like your communities events. I like that you all are thinking about what does it mean for the community, not just to go adopt some new piece of tech that showed up, but to skill ourselves so we evolve, and we keep evolving because we're not done. We're not even close, right? The last 3 years, we've all had to develop just wildly different skills than we've had in the past, and our mindset is actually the most important thing that we have to change. We have to say we don't get super comfortable with, all right, cool, we have the set of skills that's going to last us the next 5 years, because it's not.
Right.
We're going to be like skill stacking basically every few months for the rest of this decade. Every day I wake up and have to learn a new thing. Yeah, at least. I'm going to actually show you what I've been sitting here doing in Rome. I have not shown
learning how to make pasta.
Besides learning to make pasta,
Nice,
besides making pasta and drinking wine, I actually have gotten more tech work done in the last 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks, than I have in like 6 months, because I gave myself the mental space to actually get skilled up, not just skill up, but implement.
Yeah.
Right. So it took for me to get out of my usual day-to-day of like budgets, meetings, customers, presentations, data stuff, blah, blah, blah. I had to like take a pause from day to day to get myself in the right mindset of playing with all the latest tools and saying, oh, yeah, no, the way I have been working is not going to be relevant anymore. I have to change how I work. And that's been eye-opening, because I always think I'm pretty forward on the tech stack, but now I'm like, just the job that I'm going to be doing will be different than what I have been doing in the past. So that's been a very soul-searching, eye-opening moment, and I'm very excited to share that with all of you here today. So thank you for giving me the space.
No, we're excited to have you, and you have so many salient points on the difference in. I mean, I imagine it feels the same. Like if I were around in the early, 20th century when the car was being mass introduced, that there was change going on, but it wasn't as fast as today's change. Like the car, like one car was out there, and one person was driving this thing, but it wasn't like all of a sudden like like a day everybody had cars and you didn't know what to do with them. And then the next day everybody had really fast cars, and it's like and then the next day so it's the speed and velocity at which we're getting this access to these great tools makes it harder to even get started. Like you said, you need the space. You
have to like pause your life for
literally
at least like 3 days and catch up on what's going on the latest, because the thing that you're caught up on from last month is no longer a thing, right? Like the new models like Fable and Kimi are actual game changers. We had a major inflection point in November, right? Like with the tools. But I have to tell you, having Fable and Kimi and all these things, I'm like, oh, okay, a whole bunch of tools are going to change now because these things are game changers. So
cool.
Well, it's I think what really resonated with me, what you just said, is I think kind of it's like two parts, right? The first off, you allowed yourself to like break out of this normal routine of meetings, budget reviews, and all of these normal things to start to understand what is currently launched and what's about to. But for me, that really resonated because all these businesses that we're trying to convince that, hey, Fable's this next brand new thing you should be jumping on, they're still in this like 8 hours a day of routine of like, hey, operations still needs to happen. Hey, we still need to drive the business forward. Hey, we need to have status quo. That is a foundation that we can't ignore, I think, and it's just one of those things that I think as technologists that it's worth reminding that those things still must exist, and
they must
especially
exist.
In like the ERP industry, we've got implementations going on and like core teams, but the core team still has a day job
Yeah.
a majority of the time. So it's the same thing with AI, same thing with all of the technology that we're rolling out. So
Totally.
yeah.
Totally.
And I'm excited that all these folks have made space today for exactly what you talked about,
Yes.
Donna, which is to listen to your great content and then hopefully, stick with us throughout the day and on and off, pick up some great tips to the point of, like you said, helping these folks stay as on top of it as they can. So welcome and
Yeah.
thank you so much. I'll let you get to it, introduce yourself, and excited to hear what you have to say about where we are today with AI and technology and what we need to know.
Amazing. I have a share button also, so yay. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, Dynamics user group, community friends, for first investing in yourselves today and taking the time, like Bobby's saying, to figure out what you even need to be doing next. As of today, July 21st, 2026, this is what I know to be true today. Again, if we give this talk in 3 months, everything will be different, and that's okay. The best we can do is the best we can do. We can't be down on ourselves that, oh, I'm not totally up to date with every tool on the planet, because by the time you do get up to it will change by then. It'll change by then. I'm almost glad there's a lot of tools I didn't get hands-on with earlier because they're infinitely easier, right, to use now than they were even 6 months ago. So I'm seeing a massive inflection point in our industry about every 6 months. So the first one was, of course, when ChatGPT came out, chaos throughout the land. Then was like a lot of the same, a lot of the same. Then agents, interesting. What are agents? Are they good? Are they bad? Then November, agents started to become useful, especially coding agents. They became quite useful. Now coding agents are so useful, we're having existential crises, right? I had an existential crisis the last 3 weeks, and I'm going to show you why. So let's get this started. I'm Dona Sakar. I'm at Microsoft. My boss calls me the chief troublemaker. I did not make up that title. He did. And is that a good thing? I don't know. I'm just going to go with yeah. So today we're going to be talking about the fate of codephilia. Who's that? So many of us have created lives that are based on code, right? It's all about code. It's I created this code, I babysit this code, I migrate this code, I take care of this code, I secure this code. We have based our lives around code. And what happens now that there are agents that can actually do some parts of your job? What does that mean for us? What is the fate of codephilia when this is true? So let's just do like a little recap of where we're at, right? Every company in the world needs to do AI. Every CEO I've talked to for the last 3 years have been saying, Donna, we need to do AI. Then they go out to their company and say, we got to do AI. And they kind of scattershot pick up projects. They were like, we're going to do this and that next thing and replace this with that and replace these people with that. And I'm like, do you have a plan for what you're doing with your doing AI, or are you just doing AI so you can check that box so you seem like a forward-thinking CEO and your board doesn't fire you, right? Because that is the majority of companies we've talked to. Very few have a proper AI strategy that makes any sense, okay? And it's so funny, Bobby, you gave the car analogy because this is my favorite analogy because I'm from Detroit, Michigan, a place in the US where cars were invented. Both of my parents worked at Ford Motor Company. I worked at Ford Motor Company. We grew up with cars. And this is a quote that Henry Ford did not say. If I'd asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses instead of cars. He did not say this, but it's a fantastic quote, especially for what we're trying to do here. It is a hallucination by a human, right? We made this up, but it works. So what does this even mean? It means we're spending a lot of money in companies, burning through a lot of tokens, and I have spent $300 of tokens, and I'll show you what I built, and you'll be like, are you serious, Donna? I'm like, yeah. Okay, we're spending a lot of money in tokens. I'm spending my own money on tokens, I'm spending company money on tokens, building faster horses. Things that were absolutely possible before, but we're now trying to do AI and replace existing solutions with new solutions just because they have AI in them. Okay, so we're not solving impossible problems, we're just solving solved problems, but we're solving them faster. Okay, and it's costing us a lot of tokens. Now, we have been through inventing cars, not faster horses in the past. Like, I'll give you an example. My very first job at Microsoft was building and shipping Windows Vista. I know. I'm that old. Okay, I'm that old. So I used to write code for Windows, and one of my features were open and save. Yay. But after hours, what I would do is go to the Windows Burn Lab, burn DVDs, for those of you who know that was, and then I'd mail it to people's houses so they could do beta testing. Some of you have gotten these discs from me during Windows betas. Okay, now imagine if we were building faster horses. What we would do is say, we need 1,000 burn labs, and we need robots driving to people's houses and delivering the disc. That is what a faster horse would have looked like. Instead, we said, wait, what are we trying to do here? What are we trying to do? Why don't we figure out a new way people can receive Windows? They still get the operating system because you need it. So it doesn't take 3 years. It, in fact, people can get it whenever they need it. So your company decides you need it every month. Cool. Don't do that. You need it every 6 months. Yeah. Download on Tuesdays overnight. Doesn't interrupt your work. That was an evolution from a faster horse to a car. Right? So we have figured out how to do this as an industry before. We just haven't figured it out with AI. So faster horses always optimize the presence, and cars create a better future that does not yet exist. So let's just look at how we arrived at the car version of the phone, right? You think about the Nokia flip phone. This is me graduating from college. Look at what I'm holding on to. Dear life, holding on to a Nokia flip phone. Now, this thing did 3 things, and none of them were revolutionary, but they were new. First, I could make phone calls without my mom listening, because I'm not in the kitchen with a big swivelly cord. So that's one. Second, I could text. Suddenly I have messaging. I could say, where are you at? Very slowly, because texting on a Nokia flip phone, if you recall, it's a lot of numbers and hashes. Third thing, I could buy ringtones, because I was so cool, because I could buy ringtones. So I could do these 3 things, but they were all new. And when the iPhone first came out, you remember what we did? We made apps that had scroll bars, because that's what we knew from the browser. We're like, your page has a scroll bar. So take the page, make it little, slap it on a phone, mobile app. Those were the first mobile apps. Like Facebook.com had a scroll bar. It was called Facebook.com. We had to reimagine mobile app development from scratch, not looking at a browser. It's like, imagine the browser didn't exist. What would a mobile app look like? And every era has the scroll bar moment where we port before we reimagine. And right now, we are all struggling with figuring out what to do with AI because we don't have a solo new form factor, right? So when the internet came out, we had a new form factor. It's called a browser. When the phone came out, we had a phone. When the watch came out, smartwatches, we had a watch. We had HoloLenses. I could build for HoloLens easier than I can build for AI because the form factor is new. You build a new SDK, suddenly, oh, 3D virtual worlds, cool, awesome. We knew what to do. If we look at history, what broke this phone scroll bar situation was Shazam, right? Remember this? Cool song. That. You couldn't do that before. You're not taking your CRT monitor and holding it up to a speaker. I mean, you could. You look like a fool. But Shazam, written by a guy, an intern at Microsoft named Chris Baker in like 2000 and something, he had a sweet music collection that he downloaded from Napster. Yes. And he made a big old AI model that would track like, hey, this song is playing. I have it in my database. What song is it? Right? Super simple retrieval. Right now, we're like, this is basic. Back in the day, it's unheard of. It's unheard of. So, but what it did was he's like, yeah, this is just going to work on phones. It's not going to work anywhere else. Big blue button using the unique characteristics of a mobile phone, right? After Shazam, things started to get real. We had Runkeeper. Before, all of you were runners. How did you track where you ran? Leave breadcrumbs? Like have someone follow you? Like what was the plan, right? You didn't. You just guessed, measure. And then Uber, right? Before, you'd have to call a taxi like from a phone, probably like tethered to a wall somewhere, right? And now it's like, I am here. GPS shows I am here. Come get me. So once the first person kind of cracked open the seal on what it means to build for this new form factor, things became obvious. We're in this AI is going to take our job thing because all we're doing is showing AI taking jobs. So when all you do is show people replacement and not innovation, of course people are going to get scared. Of course people are going to hate AI. Of course they're going to be like, I don't want this. I don't want it in my company. I think it's unsafe. That's where all the drama is coming from, right? No one was afraid that like an iPhone would replace the laptop. Like that, they do different things. One of them is completely for like productivity at work, blah, blah, blah. The other one's on the go stuff. So we should start thinking when we're doing an AI project at work, if it makes sense as a pitch, right? It could be a startup pitch or an internal pitch. In 2016, 10 years ago, this is a faster horse you're building. This is not reimagination of something. And that is okay. It's okay to build faster horses while we figure out what AI is good for. But we can't act like we're done and this is what AI is, right? This is not what AI is. So I encourage all of you, when you're thinking about using AI to do projects, start assuming the uniquely native things that AI is good at, right? We've done this with mobile. In mobile, what was interesting with mobile native was your vertical, your pocket size. You're always connected. You could assume that. Touchscreen first. Built-in camera, knows where you are with GPU, with GPS. It can interrupt you with push notifications. Those are all new things that we could assume with the mobile form factor. With AI, things we can assume are you're always connected. You can work on any form factor. You know all the world's info. It runs in the background. You don't need to summon it. It can just run in the background and do stuff for you. It speaks your language. Doesn't matter what your language is. It can speak your language and it can take actions on your behalf. So once you understand that we can take these assumptions with AI, the world becomes a lot more interesting. Like, okay, what is possible, right? So when people are like, oh, well, what form factor we should think about AI? I'm like, yes, all of them. All of them. Right now, AI works across the board. It can work in your browser, can work on a phone, can work in XR, headset thingy, can work in a command line. Some command lines having a moment again, right? Because of AI. CLI, like smartwatch, smart speaker, Claw. What is Claw? We're going to talk about Claw a little bit. And of course, robots, right? Robots, we haven't even started with AI properly. But these are the form factors we need to think about as we are building for the next generation of stuff. Okay, so what could car really mean in this phase? One is like software that doesn't have a UI. This thing is scary for people. What happens when your customers are agents? Your customers are not humans, they're agents. Travel agents, not human ones, but agents are going to buy airplane tickets. GitHub is facing this now, github.com, because the number of people using agents to do massive amounts of check-ins and pull requests and merges and forks is crazy. It's more agents have used github.com in the last month than they have in the history of GitHub. Is the product set up for that? The UX matters a lot less. The actual usability of the product matters more. The scalability, the reliability, not going down, having like all kinds of random issues, those are not set up for agents. Like if you built your product before 2023, your product is not set up for agents. That is just true. So we have to think about what it means when your customers are agents. That is a terrifying thought for me because I don't know. How do you build an operating system that agents install? I don't know. I have no idea. How do you build apps that agents call into? Also don't know. So we have to think about apps that also morph as people use them, right? When I'm using an agentic app, my experience would be very different than yours because it's probably tailored more toward my purpose. Every time I install it, I'm going to have a different experience. That's very hard to test, by the way. Mortal software, things that are alive only for a brief period of time to solve a problem, like plan my trip to Bologna and then never exist again. Agents can do that. Code that rewrites itself based on observed usage, like, Donna tends to do voice a lot. Let me rewrite this to be voice first. Rare disease diagnosis. I'm sure all of you saw that pancreatic cancer is actually like making progress now to get cured. It's one of the most deadly cancers in the world. Like generally you don't find out till stage 4 and then there's not much to be done for you. But now there's like ways to find it, create a custom vaccine or solution for you based on your DNA, which is fascinating. Could not have done it before. And then actual one-on-one education for the next generation and for us. What does it mean to have custom education for you in your learning style, especially for you neurodivergent friends out there? You know the traditional classroom does not work. It didn't work for most of us. That's why we're tech nerds, because classroom did not work for us. So all of those things are not better versions of things that exist. The things do not exist yet that much, right? But we have to make sure that we give ourselves the patience because it took a very long time for our phone to become a boarding pass or wallet, a primary source of info. It did not happen in 1 year. It took a decade. And with AI, it's going to be a lot faster, but we also have to give ourselves the patience to identify what the real problems are, right? So let's talk about real problems. How do you actually think about using AI usefully in your work? So the example I'll give you is a lot of it will happen on your behalf. Okay, so The example that I give everyone is once upon a time, we used to need to know how to spell. Like when Word came out, you'd type your little paper and then you'd have to go to review, spell check, and it would highlight words and you'd have to choose the right one. That was the thing that we used to have to do. Then one fine day, you woke up, you wrote your little document, you have red squigglies. We're like, what's that? What's that? Turns out AI is now prompting you. You went from prompting AI, hey, fix my spelling, to AI's like, yo, fix your spelling. Now, you haven't thought about spell check in a decade. Why? Because AI just does it for you. You went from saying, AI, help me. AI is when I'm going to help you. AI is like, this is a non-issue. You are human. This is not a human problem. I'm going to handle this for you, and we're never going to mention it again. That invisible AI is the real magic, right? It should be doing things for us. It should not be this rigmarole where like prompt and unprompt and this and that. That's why I don't believe in learning to prompt correctly. It's like a temporary thing. Before we used to have those huge prompt templates. I had one. It was called Tiny Cats Eat Oranges, like topic, this, that. But now it's like put words in a box, go back and forth. It'll do stuff for you, right? So we're moving from chat, where you ask AI for answers, it gives you answers, you do stuff, to artifact, where you summon AI to create. You're like, make me a slide deck for Dynamics user group. I actually didn't use AI to make this. You can tell because none of the slides match, but I could. I wouldn't do it though, because I don't understand content if I didn't make it. That is true. I used AI to generate some slides, to reformat slides I made in Paint. Okay, so you're all grateful. I used AI for that. And then the third one, and this is going to get a little weird, is when AI goes into autopilot mode. And again, autopilot doesn't mean hands off, I have no idea what's going on. You still have to do the steering, but from the passenger side, right? So what does this mean to have AI run in the background and do stuff for you that you told it to do? It's like spell check, but better. Okay, so at Build, Microsoft Build, which is our developer conference, it's my own event, in May, we introduced a concept called autopilots, okay? And the first autopilot is called Scout. So again, our journey with AI has been copilots, reactive assistants, go summon the copilot to do something for you. Then was code, like if you've not used GitHub Copilot CLI, you should, which like does stuff for you. It's, hey, understand this code base, add these features, and do a validation run and give me the results. It does stuff semi-autonomously, but you have to tell it what to do. And the third one is auto, where it runs on your behalf in the background, acts on your behalf based on memory and behavior. So April Dunham is actually going to do a keynote later, the Americas time. And she's got a fantastic demo on Cowork and Scout. So she's going to do a cool demo for you, showing how we use it in our team. But I want to show you something we all use it for. I'm not going to do the live now because it's going to probably tell you things I'm not supposed to show everyone, but that's okay. So here you can see, this is just Scout, like basic Scout page. You can have automations, like things that run all the time, or you can do co-create, meaning new things that you need Scout to do for you. So mine would be like create a document for this, blah. So Nosy Meeting Babysitter is basically sits in all my meetings and summons me when someone calls on me. So this is how I'm able to be here with you, because I'm on stage a lot. I can't be missing all my meetings. It's like, hey, Donna, you got called on 3 times in this meeting. Maybe you should listen to the recap and chime in with what's going on, because they're maybe asking about budget. I'm like, I care about budget. Tell me about this. Fly with Copilot drama it's not drama. It's me organizing a series of events called Fly with Copilot. We're going to have 50 cities of Fly with Copilot, but each one I'm like, did the site get registered? Do we have signups? Who's speaking? Blah. It keeps me up to date with what's going on with Fly with Copilot every single day. My amazing team is awesome. Keeps me up with any open requests people have of me. Usually it's approve this expense report. It's usually just that. Like no one needs anything from me but to approve expense reports. Weird AI is bad things. Bad news, right? Bad. This AI has gone off the rails. This one leaked something. This, I gotta know. And then like what's going on around the company. This is the what's going on. So this week's focus, like what should I focus on? Protect Friday for deep work, admin stuff because you haven't approved your expense reports, prep for event and speaker commitments because you didn't do that. And then like unread email, here's some stuff you got to do. Calendar, you've blocked, you're super busy on this time, blah, blah, blah. Recommended priorities. It'll recommend, here's how you should prioritize your week. So because of Scout, it's always running in the background. My work has completely changed. Okay. Before, what would happen? I would wake up, first thing I do back in the day, I get wrapped up in Outlook, right? First thing you do is go to Outlook. But Outlook is everyone. It's everyone in the whole world. It's everyone at Microsoft. It's my team. It's the things I also need to get done. I would just get overwhelmed by all the things I need to do, and then I'd start going in just the order of Outlook email and never actually get the things done that I needed to. Then it was Teams, right? When Teams came out, it's like everyone in your company is pinging you on Teams, you tend to them. With Scout, it will change the way you work because Scout is for you. It brings you only your priorities, the things you care about specifically. So I tend to Scout every hour on the hour. It pings me. I don't need to ping it. It's like, here's things you need to know. Here's things you need to know. Here's things you need to do. Teams is everyone at Microsoft. So Scout, I talk to every hour. Teams is like many times a day. Outlook is once a day. That's it. This is how my work has changed now because Scout will tell me if something urgent's in my Outlook. So I can already see an agent using those apps. What happens when your customer is an agent? How do you rewrite Outlook to account for Scout? How do you rewrite Teams to account for Scout? I do not know. And that's something we all are going to have to figure out. All of you doing ERP implementations, what are you going to do when the customer is an agent on behalf of a human customer? So people are like, that's great, Donna. I'm too busy. Like we were saying, Beau, we still have to keep the lights on in our business, right? I still work on other products. There's a bajillion biz apps products to work on. There's Windows. I look after like the enterprise AI advocacy story at Microsoft. That's more than just Copilot. So what does this mean? We have to start thinking about breaking our work into 3 categories, okay? And we absolutely cannot just keep doing the same work we've always done and adding new because it does not work. This is something I actually did for myself. I had to sit down and think and make a list, okay? You have to think of your life like a wardrobe. This is all after, The Devil Wears Prada, the world's best movie. Devil Wears Prada 2, not good. Not good. But the 3 categories of work, you have to think about off the rack, tailored, and couture, okay? So roll with it, just go with it. So off the rack, things you can hand off to AI. Tailored, work you call AI to help you with. And couture, which is very uniquely you things. That's like this, okay? So let's just talk about some of these things that I do personally. Off the rack, work that you can hand off to AI and work that I have handed off to AI, like first draft emails and documents. I don't actually use AI for emails because my emails are short. It's like, sure, sounds good, awesome, love it. I don't need AI to be like, absolutely right, so amazing. This is groundbreaking. I don't need AI to do these things, nothing. But first draft documents, yes. Formatting cleanup, yes. So much formatting and cleanup. Summarizing a long transcript of a meeting, yes. Boilerplate and repetitive code, absolutely. And then the first pass of research, like bring me what's going on in the world of AI agents and robots right now. So specifically, what I handed AI off, what Copilot and Scout and all of my AI tools do. And by the way, some people will be asking, what does Scout have to do with co-work to do with Copilot? Are they the same thing? Eventually, they'll be the same thing. Okay, there's that Copilot super app thingy showing up in summer where it's going to be, here's your Copilot super app. In it is all the things you need. You don't need to think that much about which thing you use for what in here. You just use the super app. It'll do like a little bit of routing to choose the right thing to solve the problem that you're trying to solve. Okay. So what I do with AI is I keep up with what's going on in the AI industry today and what changes have gone into our code repo that may break things, right? This was how I found out that Copilot Studio got a huge UX change that all my demos are going to break today. I learned from Scout first thing in the morning, hey, Copilot Studio, huge UX change. I'm like, that is a huge UX change. All my demos broke in one day. I spent the morning being like, fix, right? Because that's how, did I have time to go check that every day? I do not. This is exactly what AI should be doing. Second one is tailored. This is what you call AI to the table to help you with, right? This is, help me, here's what I'm trying to do, fly with Copilot, 50 cities. How do I pitch that to the finance team so they actually give me some funding to book rooms? Like, tell me how to shape this. They were like, oh, instead of looking at Amy Hood's point of view and the language she uses, the things she values and the things she talks about, I'd shape it like this. I'm like, this is a good idea. So for me, very specifically, a thing I call AI to help me is figuring out which of the million new things actually apply to my work. And it's like, you should use Scout. I'm like, oh, okay. So here it's like, using the new AI things, making a prototype, figuring out which code changes need my attention. But this is where I call AI to help me with this, but I make the decisions ultimately at the end of the day, right? AI is not doing this on its own. I call it to help me. This is a summoning project. And the third one is couture. This is work you need to do yourself because it is what makes you uniquely human. Okay, we're going to talk a lot about staying extra human today because I believe that the biggest superpower are human superpowers right now. For me, it would be writing and delivering content with a real life example. AI cannot write this talk with my own context. It just can't. It can, and it's going to sound extremely stupid. If we actually have AI versions of ourselves that do trainings, mine is so terrible that everyone's like, you should be fired from your job. I'm like, no, my AI should be fired from its job. I should be employed. Okay, coming up. So I spend a lot of time thinking about how to do validation of software that adjusts to its user, right? Because that is something I'm very fascinated by. Like, if Bobby's using a Scout and I'm using a Scout, his is going to be completely different. How do we validate that to see if it's working? Just get feedback from Bobby? How does he know what's working? I don't know. So I have no idea how to think about this. This is a big psychological project, right? This is what psychiatrists and shrinks think about. Every experience is different who come in to talk to them. So keep in mind that if AI can do your job the way you do your job, AI already took your job. It's been taken. Like, now you're a horse who's driving a tractor. Like, you don't need to be doing this. This is not a good use of your time. So think more about the couture, right? Break homework number one, let AI take some of your jobs, some of your tasks. Break your tasks into 3 categories: handoff, tailor, hoard. Hoard the couture. And the only way to do it is to try it, is to actually try to use the tools to do some of your tasks and see what's pretty good, what's kind of okay, and which are like, not happening. But until you actually take like a few days and block time to do it, you're not going to know, because other people's workflows are not going to work for you, because each of us are very, very special and unique. Okay, so let's talk about future jobs. That's today. What about future? Future, okay. So what have I been doing here? I've been in Rome 3 weeks. I'm working full time remotely. Our whole team's remote, right? So I said, why not in Rome? The last week and a half, I have been using the hell out of my tokens, and I've built 3 apps to solve 3 unique problems in my life. And again, these are apps just for me. I've not shared them with people yet. First one is an intuition journal, which helps me really refine my intuition in a business sense. And it helps me be like, basically intuition is 1,000 little data points based on a prediction, whether it came true or not. And worries are just negative prediction, right? I am worried that it's going to be 105 degrees and I'll die. Or I am worried about AI is going to take my job. So these are all worries. So I write them down in here and then I validate, did it come true or not, right? So that is my intuition journal that I made for me. And now other people are like, I want your intuition journal. I'm like, okay, it's quite crap, but okay. Second one is HCP, which we're going to talk about, human context protocol. It's how humans stay grounded. And the third one, and this one, it has you do a little quiz and tell you what you lead with. Shockingly, I lead with cognition and experiments. The third one is learning Italiano, right? I built this app just to teach myself Italiano on the things I do, which is go to restaurants, go to wine bars, buy things I don't need, look at antiques, do tech. What's the murder owl app that threatens you? Duolingo. Yeah, so that app does not work for me because it tells me things like, horses live on roofs. I'm like, what am I even learning to say right now? This is not useful. Instead, I need can I have a glass of orange wine and also where's the Microsoft Office? Like, I need to learn to say those things. So I built an app specifically for me to do this. Now, I built the apps using AI almost 100%. They were all built with prompts. Am I done? And the answer, am I done? Like, cool. AI has taken app building. I'm done. I should just be fired now. Is that true? And the answer is no. Okay, because if all jobs are going away soon, why is OpenAI hiring a head of recruiting? Why are they doing it? It turns out building the thing is not the hardest part of our job. It's not the hardest part of our job at all. In fact, most leaders are in this business of hoarding their stuff. They're saying, This, by the way, is a picture of a pie I made. It's so ugly that I had to show you a picture. That, let's not call it a pie. Let's call it a pile of ingredients, okay? My attempts to make a pie. Okay, so the pie framework, most leaders are sitting there playing a zero-sum game of life is finite. I need the biggest piece of the pie, and I need to grab all the pieces of the pie in my industry before that guy does. Great leaders know ingredients are they're fairly endless. You can always make more pies, and you can actually make better pies than fighting over the ones that exist today. Okay, so what does PIE even stand for? People, ingredient, experiments. Okay, so I had to go through this with me, myself, and I. All right, so think about what you need to do with your team. This is a good leadership project, but first you got to do this with yourself. First one, got to gather your people, not just the org chart, but choose weirdos, because weirdos are great. Choose the ones who have a good pulse on what's going on in the industry, good pulse on what's going on with customers, good pulse on other industries. Like, did you know in the medical field blah is happening, or did you know in fashion blah is happening? So bring unused expertise or unexpected experiences to the table and ask people, what do you know how to do that nobody here knows about? Mine is make fashion. Learn how to make a great tagliatelle al ragu. So these are my skills. Are they useful in tech? Probably not. Are they going to be useful here? Yes. So most companies use like 30% of people's capabilities. People say all the time in those surveys, are you, is your company making the most of your skills? No, everyone says that. So that's one. You got gather your people, must gather your people. Second one is ingredients. Inventory what you have. A lot of people are like, oh, we're not special because other people can do our work. I'm like, that is boring. You're being boring. Think, out of all the people who work there, what relationships do they have that they're not being used? What skills do they have? Again, back to the people thing. Second, what unique tech do you use internally, right? What unique connectors, what different kinds of things have you invented in-house or configured in-house that's very different? Third one is what access do you have to customers who trust you, who've trusted you for a long time? Because customers moving off of your stack for something random, unlikely, right? And then there's data no one's using because it might be a mess, it might be unreliable, or it might just, don't know what to do with it yet, right? So, and start asking yourself the question with the ingredients, what problems couldn't we solve last year that we can solve now, given these people, these ingredients? This is where new jobs start appearing. Okay, this is where jobs start appearing. I am now able to solve the problem of learning a language. That is huge. Like the fact that I had to build my own app to learn a language is fascinating, but it's the only way I learn through conversation. I cannot learn through reading books because I'm a dyslexic person. So the only thing for me to do is have an ongoing conversation with my app to learn how to order in restaurants, get on the right train, etc., etc. The third part, and this one matters the most, are the experiments. So experiments are, I'm going to sneeze. Instead of saying we need a department or an org, think work chart, not org chart. Okay, Microsoft is doing this. We're doing this. The entire Scout team is a work chart. Omar Shaheen has like 2 reports. He's the VP of Scout. He came up with this by himself, and random people in the company said, hey, can I help? He's like, sure. So they're doing pull requests and forks and adding to Scout, not being in the same team, not being in the org chart. There's like 4 bros in Denmark, me, someone in the comms office. All kinds of people are saying, you know what would be useful? This for communicators. You know what would be useful? This for meeting people. This would be used for salespeople. So we're working in a work chart. All of you know it as a fusion team. People from different, walks of industry, devs, makers, builders, IT people, business experts coming together to solve problems, right? And then you frame the experiment. You say, let's run a 30-day experiment, and sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. That's a good thing. Failed experiments are beautiful because you cross that off, being like, that doesn't work today. So new jobs are not going to appear from org charts. They're going to appear from experiments done by work charts and saying, this should be someone's job. This is a good idea. This should be someone's job. So some will become projects, some will be products, some will become new jobs. But this is how you discover in your company what are new jobs. So what are some of the jobs, right? And I'll tell you some that exist today across the companies that I talk to. First one is an agent boss, obviously. If you've ever used a coding agent, your entire life is looking to see what it's doing because it does things like, oh, do you mind if I turn off Windows Defender to install this? Yes, I mind. What the heck? Imagine I didn't look, accept, disaster, right? My IT would be in my office in 1 second. They would come to Rome, give me a slap. Like, what are you doing? No. Second one is a guardrail guru. Suddenly all of you guardrail people, oh, you're going to be employed forever because it's like set the limit, check, accountability, like, okay, you should only spend this much money. You only have access to this. You only have read access, not write access, or you only have write access to these repos, not those. Guardrail guru, right? Governance people, this is where it's at. Agent 365 people, this is where it's at. Third one, context captain. Come with the right facts, right? Don't bring all the data on the whole world. Be like, oh, you want your app to teach you Italian. Probably you don't need your entire history of how you learn Spanish. Focus on this. You don't need to learn how to say, like, where is, I don't know, the post office. Like, you're probably not mailing stuff. So it's the context of what you're trying to do right now. Taste Titan. This is a thing I don't have, just so you know. My apps are hideous because I don't have taste on UX. I'm crap at UX. I know this. So I say choose like a gradient on blue that makes sure it's accessible because that part matters to me more than how it actually looks. But people who have good taste and how people actually use things and are attracted to things, you've just like got so much work right now. Experience director. This is what I'm spending a lot of time doing, which is think of it like product manager, but with AI. So I'm using the product being like, okay, what else does this need? What is it solving? What more can this do for people? How will this look if my friend Ioana using it? How does this look on an Android phone that I don't have? How does it look if I'm trying to use it in a browser with voice? So experience director. And then the last one is intent translator. This is customer feedback into AI words because AI and customers do not like to talk to each other. They're quite crap. Customers say, I want this, and AI will do it. Don't do that. Don't have AI implement every customer feedback. So keep in mind that when AI can create artifacts of anything, right? Anything, code, apps, documents, pictures, videos, things you create, things you have your taste showing up in, things that you yourself said, this is useful for me, here's how I'm using it, AI just created for me, this becomes valuable. Don't just say, oh, AI wrote this app in 5 minutes, everyone should use it. Why? Have you used it? Is it solving a really useful problem in your life, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? We have to think about human created as being premium, and it can be AI back, but human created. I say I created these apps with AI's help. I don't say AI woke up one day and wrote these apps for me, because that did not happen. So when we talk, I've alluded to HCP, Human Context Protocol, a few times. So what does it mean? We know what Model Context Protocol is, right? MCP. But we as humans need to stay grounded in our data and ourselves, and that is HCP. So while we're optimizing for these faster horses, going back, we're losing ourselves, right? We ship what AI generates, not what we feel about it, not our take on it. AI generates mid. It's trained on the universe. Universe is mid, as we've learned, right? Reddit, it's trained on Reddit, guys. It's mid. We need to take a view and say, yeah, that makes sense to me, or no, that's a terrible idea. Second one, cognition. We don't validate. We're like, I'm sure it's right. Check the box, move on. Forget how we feel. We don't even think. Prompt wash, ship it. Prompt that doc. Is it correct? I don't know. Don't know. This is how hallucination central happen, right? All the bad AI situations is 90% because of cognition. The third one is presence, where we are so not present in things anymore because I am guilty of this. I'm like, I will just recap this meeting. I don't need to pay attention. That happens constantly. So attention is becoming so much more valuable, right? So I encourage everyone to start thinking about their human context protocol, which is heart, how you connect with others. And the question to ask yourself is, what do people thank you for? What do people say? No one's like, hey, Donna, thank you for making me slides. They're like, hey, Donna, thank you for bringing an interesting point of view about how you're working in the world. And maybe I can tailor that for my life. Cognition is how you think. What kind of thinking comes naturally to you? Are you like a free thinker? Are you journaler, very structured? Do you need data? I'm an experiments thinker. The third one is presence. How do rooms change when you engage, right? When you're truly engaged in the conversation, do things get more serious, less chaotic, funnier? Like, how does that happen? So keep in mind, it's easier to do this with someone else. This picture is not AI generated, by the way. I've been accused of it. I'm like, no, that fox is real. It's sitting on me, okay, having thoughts. Now, you can't read the label from inside the jar. So it's hard to know your HCP because things that other people think your superpowers are just normal, MO for you. It's just normal. So it's much easier to use AI plus a person, not use, but use AI and summon a human who knows you, who's worked with you before, to figure out your HCP. And I'm going to give you a screen that you guys should take a picture of and throw that into whatever AI product to find out your H, your C, and your P. Okay, so what are mine? Mine are, what do people thank me for? They're like, thank you for making this boring or intimidating thing kind of funny or relatable and making us feel like we're doing it together in a group. Okay. What thinking comes naturally to you? I'm like, hey, life and work is an experiment. Run the experiment. Go live in Rome for 3 months. See what happens. I'm like, I randomly took up CrossFit, guys. Like anything is possible in this world, right? So my MO is always come up with an experiment. Experiment becomes like an idea that may work. Turn it into a framework and share with others. That's where Pi came from. It's where HCP came from. It all came from some experiment I ran for myself. I built an app and said, this might be useful for others. The third one is presence. So what happens if when I show up, like fully and properly show up, people get ready that I'm probably going to say something strange, troublemaker, right? Like something unusual is about to happen. Like people feel that, yeah, I think I can do the thing because Donna's kind of bossy, pretty mean, but I feel like I can do it. I feel like I can do it. So I recommend everyone take a picture of the screen right now. Just like screenshot, take a picture with your phone, whatever. I'll stick to it in a second. And I'm going to show you the prompt you're going to use for your Copilot or Claude or OpenAI or Grok or whatever you want to use. Okay. So you need to find out your HCP. And with HCP, you need receipts, okay? You can't just say, oh, people thank me for this, and they've never thanked you for that. No. Sorry. It's think what people really, really perceive you. So prompt both a human in your life and AI. I'm doing Dona Sakar's HCP exercise. What are mine? Throw this into the AI tool you use, and then throw it into an AI tool you don't use. See if it knows who you are. My name is blah. I'm using Dona Sakar's HCP exercise. What are mine? Put the screenshot of the image, and then ask AI, ask unknown AI, and ask a real person in your life, and see what happens. So I really do think that we're at this place where we need to start really, really, really laser focusing in on what makes us special as humans and use our brains and our hearts and our presence to create that next generation of jobs. I cannot tell you what your specific job will look like, but if I have a 5-minute conversation with you, I'll ask you a ton of questions where you'll probably figure it out yourself. But for me, what I'm spending my time doing is trying to revamp my job to be a lot more customer focused, guide customers through this journey rather than being like, hi, I'll implement you a Power App. Not saying that anymore. Now it's, hey, where are you trying to go with your business? What business do you think you'll be in? And what technology do you actually need for that? It's a much more conversation based rather than, hey, let me implement you, apps based on this data, et cetera, et cetera. So homework, there's always homework. Solo, it's going to be break your work in two. That thing we talked about, tailored or off the rack, AI does this, tailored, couture. You need to make time to do these things because if you don't, you're always going to be in this hamster wheel and you're always going to have this sense of FOMO that, oh my God, I'm missing out. Oh my God, what's going to happen to me? The people who are ready to embrace that, hey, our jobs are going to change in the AI verse, they're the ones who get to dictate what it changes to. You don't need some random schmo off the street telling you what your job's going to look like. You should be the schmo. Be the schmo. Okay. And then figure out how to use couture in your work. Do the things that make you special, extra. That's what you should be spending most of your time doing. And then for groups, many of you are leaders, whether of a project or a team or something, do the pie exercise, okay? Gather your people in a room or a virtual room. Figure out what you have in terms of skills, superpowers, connections. Have the conversations as humans, right? And say, what are we not using? Which skills are we not using? Which superpowers as an org are we not using? Then run 25 experiments. Have people suggest, write them down. Be like, write down 25 experiments, sign up for one, come back in a week, 2 weeks, and tell us what happened, right? Look at unsolved problems in the past. Do not solve the same ones. Say, we've never been able to figure out how to have this impact with our product. We've never been able to figure out how to do expense reports correctly. Let's go figure out if we can actually use AI to do these things. AI plus the unique unique people in your organization that are honestly the most priceless thing in the world. So, Dynamics user community and friends, you all are in businesses where companies cannot live without the services, the products that you provide. They cannot. So it is very much our responsibility as people to lead them into the next generation, because they look at us not just as people who implement tech for them, but as thought leaders and trusted advisor who are going to guide them into things that make sense and the things that do not make sense. So do your homework, go forth, and stay extra human. Thank you.
That was awesome. If you have a question, please drop it in chat. Yeah, I think you answered a question, Donna, that was in there. Somebody asked about, what jobs do you see for folks that are, coming out of school, like what can line themselves up. I laid in my thoughts on it in there. Like, I love the what you talked about, and I embrace this myself. Like, at some point somebody told me you shouldn't put that on your resume. You shouldn't act a certain way. I was like, well, then I probably don't need to be at that company. I'm going to be who I am. Like I said, I'm a rabble rouser. So if you like that, then you're going to like me. If you don't, then we're probably gonna always butt heads. So be yourself. Find those moments that really define you, and those shine, and you'll find the right job based off of that as well. Like, but just layering that is like, hey, be out there. Do the thing. Keep keep challenging yourself to be different.
So true. So I hear this from parents a lot, and the big thing is, the relationships are going to matter now more than ever, right? So one of the things that we have to talk about is generational wealth. And I don't mean generational wealth as money. Generational wealth are our relationships, because those of us who've been working before the AI era, we have relationships that no one else in the world has, that people are going to trust more than whatever AI tool is introduced that day. So a lot of companies are now doing this. They're saying, yeah, I have a lot of people at my company who want to use OpenAI's tool or Claude's tool, but we've never heard of these companies before 2023, basically. I'm not going to go implement their enterprise tool into my business when I've never done that before without extreme amounts of due diligence. Instead, I'm going to lean on Microsoft to kind of figure it out for me, because they already know security, privacy, governance, how we work in this country. Should we use this model or not? Or is this model going to get us in big, big trouble? So one of the reasons Microsoft has the superpower is because we've done this for 50 years. We have the relationships and the trust that we've had for a long time. Same with Google, right? Same. People are like, yeah, I'm just going to stick with this because I don't have the trust in the new thing. And all of you who've been working for a long time, congratulations, right? Being an old timer suddenly kicking in a good way. But it is on us to provide the generational wealth for the next generation of people, and say, whether it's young people joining our company or your kids or your nieces, nephews, whatever, and say, follow me, come with me to my meetings, observe what they are doing, see what problems they're trying to tackle. These problems aren't going to go away. How would you solve it? Like, let me remove my bias from this conversation. How would you solve this? Ask the questions, etc. So bringing them along. And for all of you who have kids who are going to school, coming out of school, honestly, the thing you study, I would still study computer science, honestly, but I would also study things like communication, philosophy, because I would need to learn how to relate with humans more, because relating with humans is going to help us relate our trust, right? So if I had to go to college right now, I would do computer science and psychology. Those are the two that I would go after.
Awesome. That's a good answer. Just kind of like you said, the human factor is so important. Like, even like stepping back to hiring, decades ago, like you said, I've been doing this a while. So you start to see this shift. And like, the one thing that I would always tell folks is like, work on those soft skills. If you're in tech, you're going to be much, we're starting to see this trend in hiring tech folks that are multi-talented and not just sitting in a room coding, but able to go out and do the analysis and be with people and be, really, work through and recognize. I love to call it recognizing those extracurricular activities that you can do. It's like, wow, I didn't know you could do that. We can use that somehow. Let's dig into that, and but if you don't know, you don't know. So make sure you've got that space to kind of find those things out and make sure that people know them. That was my point. It's like, make sure people know you're, kind of lead with, be okay with saying, yeah, I whittle in the afternoons. I carve, weird figures or whatever. Get them in understanding your brain.
Yes.
I'm-
And so to answer this question from Bernardo, I'm going to shake the wasp's nest and say AI has been useless for me. I'm like, good. This is good news. Guess what? You found your couture, didn't you? Right? That's your couture. Anytime you're like, AI sucks at this, friends, that is your couture. Pay attention. Do that extra. Be like, AI sucks at this. I'm going to be super good at it. Is AI going to suck at this forever? I don't know. But right now it does. So make sure that your history, your knowledge, your context captain, your taste heighten. This is good. There's things AI is really bad at. I think AI is bad at naming. It's very bad at naming. All the names it gives me for everything are terrible. I think initial design is quite horrible. That's a good thing. I'm actually very good at naming. I'm not good, but I like naming things. It makes me happy. It's fun. AI is not good at it. I like that. I appreciate it. So I think the thing is, the way to identify your couture is to know what you're good at, but also know what AI is bad at, and double, triple, quadruple down on that, and frame it that way. Like, your AI cannot do blah, but I can. It's a human, right?
Yeah, no, that's a good point, because everybody's on a different spectrum. Like I said,
Yeah.
I like the way I write. I've not
I
found.
love the way I write.
Somebody,
Yeah.
people keep telling me, well, AI, if you train it enough, it's going to catch up and it's going to learn how to write like you. I was like, yeah, maybe, but I don't. I don't trust that yet. I don't feel like
No.
it doesn't know when I'm going to take a 180
Under
or a
yet.
left turn
No.
or just stop suddenly and go back. It doesn't know
No.
what it can't predict these things equally
No.
to what my brain's going to do.
No, but also I don't use AI for writing actual things because I like writing. It's how I think, right? Writing is very much how I process what I feel. And if I just have AI write it, again, HCP, losing heart like this, right? I lose presence in the document. I lose heart of how I feel. I kind of vaguely read it. And this is why I don't use AI to make my presentations, right? I may use it to fix my slides, which I should for this one, because slides are, I'm like, what am I even showing? What is this yellow dot? What am I doing with my life? But the reason I don't use AI to make my presentations is because I don't know the content then.
Yeah.
I have to sit and write the content. My process is, what do I want to say to all of you today based on where you're at and what I think is useful based on what I'm doing? So I write a talk track myself in OneNote. And then once I live with it, right? I live with it. I move stuff around. Then I make a set of slides that are totally terrible with a bunch of screenshots and images of just my life in general. And then I may use AI to do a cleanup. But if I used AI, write me a talk for the Dynamics user group, I wouldn't know this content. It would be PowerPoint karaoke, the worst version. It would be like someone handed me a deck and said, present it. I've never done that in my life. Never in my life. Marketing often hands me a deck. They're like, can you present this? I'm like, of course not. Don't be so basic. Don't be so basic. No, tell me what you're trying to do. I'll write it myself. But again, writing is how I think. Presenting is how I think. Just by having these conversations and seeing the questions come up, I'm like, oh yeah, these are interesting. So presence is actually helping me to become a better speaker, a better leader, a better person who works with customers, because these are the questions you're asking.
Yep.
All right, my time is over. It's time for you two to foil, and I think Chris is up next.
He is indeed. Yes. Thank you so much, Donna. Beau, do you have
Thank you
anything?
very much.
Thank you all so much.
Also, great job starting us off with a Taylor Swift reference, going into Devil's
Look
Wears
at you.
Prada. Like,
Yeah.
fellow Swiftie here, couldn't end it without saying thanks. And
I love
great job. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful, wonderful set of sessions. I'm going to be kind of dropping in and out to see what everyone's doing. And when April's on, tell her, give me a Scout demo. Donna says so, because she's got some really cool Scout stuff. She's got really good Scout stuff. It's how she stays on top of the Copilot Studio changes without losing her ever-loving minds.
I love it.
All right. Bye.
Thank you so much. Yep. Talk to you soon,
Bye,
Donna.
everyone.
Yep. Take
See
care.
ya. Bye.